For decades after independence, India's strategic gaze remained locked on land. The national security apparatus focused almost exclusively on the contested, high-altitude continental borders shared with Pakistan and China, leading to a profound case of strategic sea-blindness. But the geography of power has changed. To understand the trajectory of 21st-century Asian politics, we must pivot southward, away from the mountains, and look at the maritime commons of the Indian Ocean region. This basin connects the African coast to Southeast Asia. The sheer density of energy and goods crossing these waters has turned it into the central, beating artery of global commerce. To ensure its economic resilience in an increasingly fractured world order, India is abandoning its continental-only defense strategy. It is moving to project power directly into the sea as a net security provider. In this environment, control over these waters is no longer a luxury of naval ambition. It is the physical foundation for the country's economic future. At first glance, India's modern diplomatic posture appears to be a series of contradictions. On one hand, India is deeply integrated into the US-led Quad framework, committing its navy to large-scale joint operations like the Malabar exercises alongside American, Japanese, and Australian forces. Simultaneously, New Delhi is deepening its energy reliance on a sanctioned Russia, ignoring Western pressure to remain one of Moscow's most significant crude oil customers. Diplomats are actively courting European technology and capital, while loudly positioning India as the primary political voice for the developing Global South. This framework, known as active multi-alignment, functions as a highly transactional, agile diplomacy. It is engineered to secure maritime lifelines while refusing to become a junior partner to any single superpower bloc. This complex web of alliances is not driven by ideology. It is a calculated response to specific physical vulnerabilities sitting right off the Indian coast. The modern Indian economy is built on a single, unyielding physical reality, an immense dependence on imported hydrocarbons. This data shows the scale of the risk. Nearly 89. In an economy this dependent on the ocean, a blocked strait thousands of miles away translates directly into domestic inflation and a strategic crisis for New Delhi. To manage these risks, planners must counter two distinct types of threats simultaneously: the dual vector threat matrix. The first vector is traditional state competition. Driven by its own energy needs, China is establishing a persistent military presence in the Indian Ocean. Through the String of Pearls strategy, Beijing is funding deep-water port developments across the region, establishing naval outposts at Gwadar in Pakistan and Hambantota in Sri Lanka. These capital injections directly challenge India's historical regional hegemony, creating a ring of infrastructure that could be converted for military use. The second vector is non-traditional. The Indian Ocean overlaps with the world's most notorious drug production zones, the Golden Crescent and the Golden Triangle. This structural volatility breeds narco-terrorism and piracy operations that routinely threaten the security of commercial sea lanes. Grave. India's geographic moat has effectively vanished. Its perimeter is now breached by both rival military infrastructure and the baseline chaos of non-state actors. India's older military doctrine was coast-centric. It was designed to protect the immediate shoreline and was unable to mitigate threats spread across an entire ocean. This led to a strategic reorientation through the 2015 Indian Maritime Security Strategy, titled Ensuring Secure Seas. The mandate was to move beyond passive coastal defense. The Navy began focusing on active power projection and maritime deterrence far from the domestic coast. India began building a necklace of diamonds, securing naval access in Chabar, Oman, and the Seychelles, while fortifying Singapore and the Andaman Islands. Using naval diplomacy and Milan exercises, the military pushed its primary focus westward, to the African coast and the Red Sea. This strategy overhauled the Navy's operational priorities, shifting it from a defensive, coast-bound force into an active architect of regional security. This outward push across the ocean provides the physical security necessary for India's multi-alignment to function. It supports the Vishwamitra doctrine, the mandate for India to act as the primary bridge between the established powers of the North and the rising economies of the Global South. In this context, partnerships like the Quad are not formal alliances, but calculated tools for de-risking the national economy. During the Cold War, alignment was a binary choice between blocs. Today, India operates a node-based strategy. It leverages transactional partnerships for specific needs: energy from Russia, technology from the US, and investment from Europe, all while maintaining absolute control over its own strategic decisions. In a world where trade is routinely weaponized, absolute loyalty to one bloc is a liability. For India, transactionality is the only path to security. Executing this vision requires New Delhi to manage a monumental balancing act every single day. Planners must counter China's maritime encroachment and handle distrustful neighbors, all while navigating intense Western pressure on issues ranging from climate policy to Russia. The Indian Ocean is the physical arena where all these geopolitical pressures collide. India cannot achieve its internal goals of domestic transformation and industrial growth without first securing these external maritime lifelines. India's rise is now a bandwidth test. The ability to talk to everyone while belonging to no one is the singular deciding factor in whether India achieves its rise as a 21st century superpower.